Today we will discuss about Gallid herpes virus 2, which is produces an important disease of poultry. And before the advent of the vaccination, it was a very devastating disease. Even in now, if in unvaccinated flock, it causes approx 100% mortality. And this virus is also known as Marek's disease virus. And Gallid herpes virus 2 or Marek's disease virus, it's a alpha herpes virus and belongs to Herpes viridae family and genus is Mardi virus. This one is a double DNA stranded virus and having icosahedral nucleocapsid, and around which a tegment is there and surrounded by an envelope. Envelope is having several viral glycoproteins. And the genus Mardi virus, it includes 3 species or the immunologically 3 serotypes. Gallid herpes virus 2, which is designated as herpes serotype 1, Gallid herpes virus 3, serotype 2, and Meliagrid herpes virus or herpes virus of Turkey, which is named as serotype 3. And the further Gallid herpes virus 2 is classified on the basis of virulence as weakly virulent, mildly virulent, virulent, very virulent, or very virulent plus. So these are genus Mardi virus is having 3 species or 3 serotypes, and each is having different strains of viruses. Serotype 1, it includes all the pathogenic strains of the viruses, and as I told, it is further classified into different types based on virulence, like very virulent plus, very virulent, virulent, mildly virulent, and weakly virulent. And these are some of the examples under each type of the strain of the virus. And these strains can be attenuated by passage in tissue culture, and by passage there is a loss of pathogenic properties but the retention of the immunogenicity, so these can be used as vaccine. Serotype 2 includes the naturally virulent strains of the Marek's disease virus, and these are also, some of these are also known to provide protection against the virulent strains. Whereas the serotype 3, it is includes naturally virulent herpes virus, and it is used as monovalent vaccine or also in the combination as bivalent or trivalent vaccine against the very virulent strains of the Marek's disease virus. Coming to the disease, it causes Marek's disease, which is a contagious or lymphoproliferative disease of the chicken, and it is ubiquitous, having worldwide distribution, and it is of major economic significance in poultry industry. And this disease was first described in 1907 by Joseph Marek, which was a Hungarian veterinary pathologist, but the causative agent as a herpes virus was identified in 1967. And this was the first neoplastic disease which was controlled by the vaccination. Its transmission is mainly through the inhalation, and cell-free virus particles are produced by the feather follicle epithelium, and along with the feather follicle epithelium, it is shed into the environment, and through inhalation it is taken by the susceptible poultry. And this dander can remain infective for the several months in dust and litter in the poultry house, and if the birds are infected, they remain carrier for the life and act as a source of virus for other birds. Disease is influenced by the virus strain, dose, or route of the infection, also by the age, sex, immune status, and the genetic susceptibility of the chicken. it is said that the females are more prone for the disease. Though the reason for this is not known, but the female birds are more prone for the disease. And also the transportation, vaccination, handling or big trimming are the stress factor which increases the susceptibility to the disease. Main host for the Marek's disease is chicken, but sometimes it also infects other birds like turkey, quails, and pigeons. Generally, it affects the younger age group of the birds, but it may occur at any stage of the age, even after the onset of the egg production also, this disease may occur. Coming to its pathogenesis, the it is considered that the target cell for the virus is macrophages and dendritic cell. From there, it gets entry and it gets replicated into the B cell and T cells and NK cells, and they causes cytolysis of these cells and results in cell death. And due to the amplification in the lymphoid cells of the lymphoid organs, like in the thymus, bursa, spleen, it leads to immunosuppression. And after the 4 days of infection, then it causes a persistent cell-associated viremia, and it gets proliferated causes the proliferation of the CD4 plus T cells, and some subsets of the CD4 plus T cells gets transformed into T cell lymphoma. Earlier, a long time ago, an antigen, in short known as MATSA, means Marek's disease associated tumor associated antigen was detected on the transformed lymphocyte, and it was thought to be specific for this transformed lymphocytes. But now it is considered as a marker for the activated T cells, means the other activated T cells other than the transformed lymphocytes also, these antigens are present. And the cell-free virus is produced by the feather follicles epithelium, and these are shed into the environment. Coming to the clinical signs of the Marek's disease, this disease is a progressive disease with several overlapping signs and symptoms. And the mortality rates is up to 100% in unvaccinated chicken. And among all the syndromes, lymphoproliferative syndromes are the most frequently seen disease symptoms. And this disease can have different types of presentation, like known as classical Marek's disease or fall paralysis, acute Marek's disease or transient paralysis, ocular lymphomatosis or cutaneous Marek's disease, or it may lead only to the immunosuppression. Coming to the different forms, first one is the classical MD or neurolymphomatosis, or also called as fall paralysis. And this type of disease is mainly involves involvement of the nerves, and the mortality rate is approx 10 to 15%, and disease may occur over a few weeks or ranging from the few to many months. And the most common clinical sign is the partial or complete paralysis of the legs and the wings, and this characteristically gives this type of the posture, and this one is characterized by the one leg held forward and the other leg held backward. And in this type of disease, characteristic finding is the enlargement of the one or more peripheral nerves. And if the vagus nerve is involved, it may causes the dilation of the crop and leads to gasping. And affected nerves will be thicker, and the thickness will be 2 to 3 times than their normal thickness. And the normal cross striation and the glistening appearance of the nerves will be lost, and they will turn to grayish or yellowish, and sometimes they may become edematous also. And generally in this form lymphoma are absent, but sometimes lymphoma may be present, and if present they are small soft gray tumors in the ovary, and also sometimes they are present in lungs, kidney, heart, liver and other tissues. This picture shows different types of the lesions seen in the Marek's disease. This shows the nerve enlargement. Here is you see the nerve is enlarged on the loss of striation, infiltration of the feather follicle, and this picture shows the visceral tumors. In this heart tumors can be seen, and in this picture kidney tumors can be seen, and this picture shows the proventricular tumor. Coming to the acute form of the disease, it occurs in the sudden outbreaks and occurs neck and limb paralysis occurs, and this generally this form is characterized by the visceral lymphoma in different organs like liver, gonads, spleen, kidneys, lungs and proventriculars and heart. And sometimes lymphoma also arise in the skin around the feather follicle or in skeletal muscles. And generally in this form also birds are having enlarged peripheral nerves as seen in the classical form. And in this form generally liver enlargement in the younger birds is moderate, but in adult birds the liver enlargement is great, and the gross appearance may be resembling lymphoid leukosis. So if the MD is present in adult birds, it should be differentiated from the lymphoid leukosis. And the nerve lesion will be generally absent in the adult birds, and the in clinical symptoms the birds will be having depressed, and some may die without even showing clinical signs. And this form of disease is having 10 to 30% of the mortality, and in the case of outbreak mortality can go up to 70%. Another form is transient paralysis, and it results from the brain edema. So this form is seen due to the lesions of the brain, and this form generally occurs with the newer or more virulent virus strains. And in this form neurological symptoms will be seen after the 9 to 10 days of infections, and it will include flaccid paralysis of the neck and the limb, and generally paralysis will proceed to the further, and this form will also result in the full clinical Marek's disease after several weeks, and death may occur. And generally death occurs, it occurs after 1 to 3 days after the onset of the clinical signs. Ocular form, it causes ocular lymphomatosis, though this is a rare syndrome, but in some adult birds this may be the only symptoms present, and this occurs due to the infiltration of the transformed or neoplastic lymphocyte infiltration in the iris of the one or both eyes, and which will lead to the formation of gray eyes, and due to the infiltration pupil will be irregular or eccentric and may result in partial or total blindness. Cutaneous Marek's disease, and this form of the disease is commonly seen after plucking of the feathers, and in this form round nodular lesions up to 1 centimeter in the diameters are seen around the feather follicles, and the non-feathered area of the leg may have distinct red coloration. Due to this sometimes this disease is also called as red leg syndrome. Another form of disease is immunosuppression form, and this occurs due to the involvement of both humoral or cellular post-immune responses, and it occurs due to the early cytolytic infection of the B lymphocyte
So it is stuck here. Not remember.
Hello? And it occurs due to the early cytolytic infection of the B lymphocytes. Also, latent infection of the B and T lymphocytes occurs, and the cytolytic infection of the T lymphocytes occurs, and also the T lymphocytes gets transformed into tumorigenic cells, and this will result in the severe immunosuppression. Coming to the diagnosis can be done based on the clinical signs and the pathological finding. And if the bird is having paralysis of legs and wings, and along with the thickening of the peripheral nerves, then it is a typical sign and pathological symptoms, lesions of the Marek's disease, and this disease can be diagnosed. But in the adult birds, nerve involvement is not always seen. So in these circumstances, the disease should be differentiated from the lymphoid leukosis. Another method of diagnosis is antigen detection, and antigen can be detected in the preparation of the skin of feather tips using a radial precipitin test. In a radial precipitin test, what we'll do, like in agar gel immunodiffusion, we will lead agar along with the antiserum, and in that we will vertically dip the feather follicle. And if the antigen is present in the feather follicle, then what will happen? Along the feather follicle, a radial precipitin line will be formed. And this, by this method, antigen is detected in the feather follicle. And antibodies can also be detected by using agar gel immunodiffusion, ELISA, immunofluorescence, or viral neutralization test. Virus isolation can be done using the buffy coat of the blood, and for the virus isolation, chicken kidney cells or duck embryo fibroblast can be used for the isolation. And another less commonly source for the virus is feather tips, and from this the cell free virus can be extracted. And PCR is also developed, which is able to differentiate the oncogenic and non-oncogenic strains of the serotypes of the different Marek's disease virus, or also it can differentiate between vaccine strains of the serotypes 2 and 3. It can also quantify by using the real-time PCR. Coming to the immunity prevention and the control. Vaccination is the principal method for the control of this disease. And but the vaccination only inhibits the production of the development of the lymphoma, but does not prevent the infection and the replication of the pathogenic strains. And generally the vaccination is done in the 1-day-old chicks, or in some commercialized form in ovo vaccination at the age of 18 days of embryo development is done. And the vaccine available are using herpes virus of Turkey, Gilead herpes virus 3, or live attenuated Marek's disease virus, means the Gilead herpes virus 2 virus, which is live attenuated. And generally the single dose of a virus injected into a day-old chick is sufficient to provide lifelong protection. But if the bird is exposed to the virulent field strains of the viruses, then it cannot prevent the superinfection, and chicken will be get infected with the virulent strains. And one strain, CV1988, Rispens strain viruses, which is a live attenuated Gilead herpes virus 2 strain, is effective in providing protection against the very virulent Marek's disease. Different vaccines are available for the control of this disease, and it includes attenuated HPRS16 or CVI988 Rispens strains vaccine. Also, it includes very virulent strains, attenuated very virulent strains of MD11 oblique 75C, R2 oblique 23. But this is used in the experiment as an experimental vaccine to protect against the variant form of the acute Marek's disease, which is caused due to the very virulent strains. And naturally avirulent strains SB1 and 301B oblique 1 are commercially available, and these are generally used with herpes virus of Turkey as the bivalent vaccine to provide protection against the very virulent strains. Naturally avirulent herpes virus of the Turkey is used for the vaccination either as monovalent vaccine or with serotype 1 or 2 as bivalent or trivalent vaccines. Apart from vaccination, appropriate managemental practices are also important to control the disease. And if the in the form all in all out principle is practiced, then it also improves the efficacy of the vaccination for the control measure. In all out principle means the all birds in a flock will be of the same age group, and they will be reared together and will be marketed in a single lot, or they will be depopulated in a single lot. And the other from this, rearing young chicks away from the older birds for the first 2 or 3 months of the age also reduces the exposure to the infections. And the proper removal of the litter and the cleaning and disinfection of the house after each production cycle should be practiced to reduce the virus load in the poultry shed, and this will also will be useful for the control of the disease in the flock. And this slide shows the differentiating features between the Marek's disease and lymphoid leukosis. As I told, if the in adult bird the Marek's disease is present, then it should be differentiated from the lymphoid leukosis. And these are some of the features which differentiate Marek's disease and lymphoid leukosis. And generally, the Marek's disease is occurs in younger birds, or but the lymphoid leukosis, it doesn't occur in the birds below the 16 weeks of the age. And the paralysis is the common features present in the Marek's disease, but the in lymphoid leukosis it is non-specific. And also incidence wise also both differs, and the macroscopic lesions, neuronal involvement is frequent in the Marek's disease, whereas it is absent in the lymphoid leukosis. And the tumors are also are differentiating characters in the both diseases. And in the lymphoid leukosis, nodular tumors are present, and generally tumors in the luvas are perivascular in the MD, whereas it is focal or diffuse in the case of lymphoid leukosis. Central nervous system will be involved in the Marek's disease, whereas it is not involved in the lymphoid leukosis. And if you see the tumors, cytology of the tumors in the Marek's disease, the tumors is of pleomorphic nature, whereas in the lymphoid leukosis it is lymphoblast. Lymphoblast is a immature lymphocyte which turns into the mature lymphocyte. And neoplastic lymphoid cells, it occurs in T cells in the case of Marek's disease, whereas it is of B cells in the case of lymphoid leukosis. So these are some of the important differentiating features between the Marek's disease and lymphoid leukosis. Go through the chart and study in the detail all the characteristics, features, and so this concludes the topic of the Marek's disease. And if you have any question, then you can ask.